Welcome back to another edition of Disruptive Leadership Academy. My name is Bob Morgan. I'll be your host, your MC. I'll be the trainer. I'll be whatever you want to be. Today, we're going to talk about, is it true? Is it true that 2 plus 2 equals 4? Does liver taste as bad? Does it taste as bad as it smells? And can you really honestly get up on the wrong side of the bed? Is that possible? Well, most important, what we're really going to talk about is, do people buy from people they like and trust? And is your attitude key to what you're doing? Are you always in the right place at the right time if you have the right attitude? Let's talk about both today. Starting with, how do you get people to like and trust you? It sounds easy, but really it's not so much. And then we'll go on to, attitude is the key. So let's move right into it. I'll give you my word. I will give you my word that what we talk about today is true. It's true. One of my favorite books, and if you haven't read it yet, it's by the master of how to win friends and influence people. In fact, it's the title of the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Dale Carnegie talks about it, and he says there's 6 steps for getting others to like and trust you. I mean, think about this. Why can a new salesperson, not all of them, but there are some, we all have this experience, why can a new salesperson with no experience come in and just outshine everybody almost? Why? Like and trust, attitude. We'll all say, well, he hasn't developed any bad habits yet. Maybe not. Maybe he hasn't developed bad habits, but he comes in with a great attitude. He comes in and he tries to get people to like him because it's important to be part of the herd. And that's one of the reasons that they shine like they do. Now, if you haven't read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, I would urge you to go get it. Get a marker and mark that baby up. The first step to getting people to trust and like you, you have to become genuinely interested in other people. Sometimes that's difficult, especially if you're an introvert. But once you get talking to somebody, once you get interested in them, they'll be interested in you. The old saying is that people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Become genuinely interested in other people. And how do you do that? You always got to make it about them. The next one, this one doesn't really need anything. You got to smile. What does smiling do? We'll talk about that in a minute with attitude. Smiling changes everything. Next one, use their name a lot. Remember, a person's name is probably the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Oh, welcome, Bob. How are you, Bob? Oh, you've done a lot of research, Bob. It's good to know you, Bob. Bob Iran. Yeah? Use their name. You get my point anyway. You know, ask them about where they're from. Ask them what they do for a living. Ask them what brought them in. Ask them about how much research they did. And be a good listener. Be a good listener. You got to make it always about them. And if you're listening, they'll think you're interested in them. And you have to listen. How many times somebody tell you their name, and then you're like, oh, what's their name? I don't remember their name. Come up with some game to remember it. But you got to be a good listener. And people know if you're not listening. I go to meetings all the time. And I look over and there's a manager with his phone out and he's texting somebody right in the middle of when I'm talking or the owner's talking. And that manager has no interest. He's not listening. He doesn't care. What he's doing is more important. That's not the way to sell. They'll know if you're interested or if you're not. And you really have to talk about what they like. They don't care you just bought a brand new snowmobile. They don't care that you just got back from the Bahamas. They don't care. What they care about is them. You got to talk about them, where they're from, how they got there, what they do, how long they've been, how many cars, what research. Just ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. Not yes or no. Look at them talking. Boy, that sounds like you've done a lot of research. Now, what question would you add to that pile? Because it's very important. Very important. Every one of us are walking around with a sign around our neck that says, make me feel important. And if you do it sincerely, you do these 6 things, you'll get others to like and trust you. And half the battle of them buying from you or you helping them with whatever you're doing, it's over. Next one, this one's up to you. I had a discussion the other day with a salesperson, and I asked him, who's the expert? You've been in the business for a few months. You've sold 30, 40 cars. A guy comes in, he's my age. He's bought maybe 10 or 12 in his life. Which one of you is the expert? We treat him like he is. Act like you've been here before. You're the expert. You sold the 40 cars. It's your choice. It's your attitude. It's easy. Remember, you're the expert. Don't be intimidated by that. First thing when we're talking about attitude is the most important sale you will ever make is yourself. Sell yourself. You deserve to be there. You're the expert. Sell yourself on yourself. Come up with ways to do that for yourself. Everything you do while you're at work will have an effect on your attitude and your skills. Let's talk about attitude for just a minute, because it really is the key. It's the most important yet the most overlooked aspect of selling. And everything you do at work has an effect on it. But you're like, well, sometimes I just got up on the wrong side of the bed. Yeah, no, you didn't. Here's how easy it is. When we're done, I want you to do a little experiment when we're done with this. And you have to have somebody else helping you with this. The two of you get together, and I want one of you to be the salesman, one of the customer, and walk up to them and act like you could care less if they're there. Kind of like that leaning over, going, there's something I can help you with? Act like they could care. Introduce yourself, shake hands, whatever. You feel that energy? No, you don't. Now, walk away. Think about this just for a minute. This is a really good friend you haven't seen for a long time. A long time. You're so glad to see him. You just can't believe it. You finally get to see him. What do? You walk up to him, shake hands. What's the difference? What is the difference? You did it. There's nothing. This is the same guy. You did it. When I was in California, when I was first selling cars, my closer, one of the best pieces of advice he ever gave me, he said he used to wake up in the mornings and he'd look in the mirror when he was getting ready to come to work and he'd go, okay, Paul, showtime. It's showtime. Now, I don't recommend you necessarily do that, but it is showtime. And get to work that way. See how easy it is to control your attitude? Look what happened when you tried that experiment afterwards. You'll see. But be calm, be cheerful. Don't worry about it. Somebody calls you a name, so what? Or you're lying about the invoice, they're afraid. You're the expert. Remember that. It's up to you. That seems kind of corny, seems kind of trite, but it really is. You get to decide. You get to decide what your attitude is. Don't let people have the power over you. Don't let them. You decide what your attitude is about. If the owner's chewing you out, so what? Maybe you did something wrong. But what are you going to do? You're going to hang your head? Your manager just yelled at you because you didn't go on a test drive? Learn from it. It's up to you. Attitude, attitude, attitude. It is the key. Now you got the attitude. You got to get people to like and trust you. It's time that it's your choice. Set your first goal. When it comes to attitude, decide where you want to be in 1 year. Make yourself a promise that you're going to get there. Make the commitment to it right now. Set your goal for the week, for the month, for the year. Go backwards for the day. Remember, it's small choices, as we said a couple of weeks ago, huge results. Huge results. Make the choice. Small things every day. An attitude, it's up to you. So what do? You need to commit to doing it. What does commitment mean to you? What does it mean to you? And once you do it, do it. One of my least favorite sayings is to look before you leap. A lot of times in sales, you got to leap, then look. Leap and look. It's up to you. You can do it. And remember this, you're always in the right place at the right time. If you got the right attitude, now let's go make it happen.